What's a job that's romanticized, but in reality sucks? Raising livestock. Everything about it is so much rougher than any book, show, or movie lets on. You have many days that go by swift and easy, then you're hit with an emergency that makes 3 hours feel like a week. Don't like thinking about death? Then why are you buying animals who are one bad moment away from you having to make the hardest decision you never knew was an option? I strongly suspect being a spy doesn't involve half as many high-tech gadgets and spontaneous sexual intercourse as I've been led to believe. One former member of the CIA said the most unbelievable thing about James Bond was that he never had to file an expense report. I've spent 9 seasons working in Antarctica, both as a graduate student and now full-time academic/researcher. Everyone I tell this to immediately gets excited and says something like, "That must be so awesome. I would love to do that." Now, first-year geoscience grad students always get incredibly excited about the possibility of doing fieldwork like this, and to be fair, most of them understand what comes with this and still want to do it. Heck, that's where I was 15 years ago. But, and here is the but, for this kind of work, the novelty and romantic cool factor wear off after a couple of days, and the remaining 2 to 3 months of the work is absolutely brutal. You are constantly cold, hungry, dirty, and exhausted. Small cuts and abrasions don't heal properly. Your fingers crack and bleed daily. You are constantly getting frostnip. And no matter how many socks and feet warmers you wear, your toes never get warm. It's organized misery in service of science. Anything in modern-day publishing. How many television shows and movies must I watch where a plucky young upstart graduates from college and gets a job at the magazine or newspaper of their choice, and is respected and can make a living? The pay sucks. You're in constant danger of being laid off when your pub folds, usually. And it's usually a pretty corporate environment where you're tasked with multiple jobs for little hope of advancement. The names high up on the mastheads are usually those of rich people, and it's because they started off rich and could afford to stay in the industry. Veterinary medicine, fantasy. I get to work with puppies and kittens. Reality, a 3-month-old kitten died in my care. I've seen so much gore and blood and neglect. I've sent animals home with invasive cancers because family can't afford treatment. I've been the only comfort shelter animals knew before they left this world. It is a specific and exhausting kind of pain that isn't really talked about enough. People who say they couldn't do it because of the euthanasia have no idea. Architect. You think you'll be designing big, fancy, iconic buildings. Warehouses, Walmarts, strip malls, and shitbox apartments all need architects, and that's probably what you'll end up doing. Computer game development, especially testing. That is the accent of an industry that is mostly us. So, all of the jobs then. Everyone used to think it was awesome that I worked in live sports TV. 70% of the people I worked with were miserable pricks with overinflated egos. And then there were the athletes. Lawyer. Number of historic, life-changing, precedent-setting cases participated in. 0. Number of angry, self-entitled, abusive clients wanting to screw each other over. 842. Number of pages of paperwork that sucked up free time and social life, 84,836. Ballerina. Fortunately, you won't be doing it for very long. Archaeologist, especially field archaeology. 99% of the time you find absolutely nothing. It's often physically demanding, sometimes grueling. The pay is shit. There are no benefits. You have to constantly travel. There is very little stability. I could go on. Doctor. Fantasy. I make lots of money, everyone respects me. Reality. I watch people die every day, work exhausting 12-hour shifts, have crippling depression and multiple addictions. Probably anything in the entertainment industry. It bogged down by a lot of workers' right violations, insane hours during crunch time, no work-life balance, and you don't even get paid much, because your employers and society at large think it's a privilege to even be working in the industry. Teacher. Fantasy. I'ma change the world one student at a time. Reality. Poor paying zoo. Twitch streamer. This is a newer form of career, but one that I have seen a lot of younger people romanticize while watching their favorite streamers making millions playing video games. Fact is that the environment is so saturated, it's damn near impossible to really get anywhere unless you're incredibly lucky. Anything that requires a lot of travel sounds glamorous, but in reality, all you see, usually an airport, conference room, boring hotel room, and maybe a restaurant, if you're lucky. It's exhausting, and it actually just sucks. Dolphin trainer or marine biologist at a zoo or aquarium. I never did it myself, but I used to work at one and was friends with them. Yeah, swimming with dolphins, playing with otters and penguins is fun, but that is like 5% of their day. A lot of cutting up fish, medical exams, and other shit. Now, in fairness, I don't think most of them think it sucks, but it's a lot more romanticized than the reality. Plumber. 0 attractive girls that didn't have any cash so far.